Story from Mexico. In Spanish, when you want to say a long, long, long time ago, you say this. You say, hace mucho tiempo. Can you try it? Ready? Hace mucho tiempo. Good. A long time ago, there was a chicken. But you know, this chicken, este pollito, this chicken, he was un poco diferente que los otros pollitos. He was a little different than the other chickens because, you see, in vez de dos patas, instead of two legs, he had solamente uno. It gets worse. In vez de dos alas, instead of two wings, solamente uno, only one. And in vez de dos ojos, instead of two eyes, solamente uno, only one. And because this little chicken, this pollito, had only one pata, one leg, one ala, one wing, and one ojo, one eye, they called him Medio Pollito, which means half chicken. See? Bueno, mucha gente pensaría, a lot of people would think that a little chicken with only one leg, one wing, and one eye would be un poco tímido, a little bit shy. But not Medio Pollito. When he was a pollito chiquitito, a tiny little chicken, he said to his mother, he said, "Bak, bak, 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 bak. Mama, yo soy un pollito muy importante. I'm a very important chicken. Sí, y yo voy a conocer el rey. I'm going to meet the king." And his mother said, "Bak, bak, 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 bak. No, 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 Medio Pollito, no. The king lives a long way away. Es muy, muy lejos. It's very far, even for a two-legged chicken. But you, mira, Medio Pollito, por favor, you stay home with Mamacita, y si estás un buen chico, if you're a good boy, one day we'll go for a little trip. ¿Está bien? Okay? And he said, no, mamá, por favor, yo tengo lugares que ver, gente que conocer y cosas que hacer. I have places to see, people to meet, and things to do. Hasta luego, Mamacita. Ciao. Ha! He already spoke a little Italian. And so, Medio Pollito, the brave, one-legged, one-winged, one-eyed chicken, he hopped out the narrow door into the wide world and down the road to meet the king. Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. Well, he hopped all day. And at the end of the day, he hopped all the way down to un arroyo pequeño, a tiny little creek. But the water in the creek, it was all clogged with twigs and branches and leaves, and the water couldn't flow. But when the water saw Medio Pollito hopping by, it called out and said, "Medio Pollito, por favor, ayúdanos, help us, Medio Pollito. Pull away the leaves and the sticks and the branches so we can flow freely again, like a creek." And Medio Pollito said, "Bueno, yo soy un pollito muy importante. I'm a very important chicken, and I'm going to meet the king. But I guess I can help." And so Medio Pollito, he waded into the creek, and with his mighty beak, he pulled away the branches and the sticks and the leaves and the leaves and the branches and the sticks, and el agua, the water, empezó a correr. The water began to flow again. You want to flow with this water? Good. All the water was flowing along, and it made little whirlpools, remolinas. It made white water. It made una cascada, a waterfall. Wah! And just as it turned the bend, it called back to Medio Pollito. And the water said, "Gracias, amigo." And Medio Pollito said, "Hasta luego. Ciao." And he hopped down the road, boom, doom, 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 to meet the who? Right? The king. Exactly. He hopped down the road to meet the king. Well, the next day, Medio Pollito hopped into a deep, dark forest, un bosque oscuro. And that's where he saw a campfire. But las ramas del fuego, the little flames of the fire, were burning low and low and low, and they were about to burn out. And they called out, "Help us, please. Bring us dry sticks and dry leaves. We want to burn brightly." And Medio Pollito said, "Bueno, yo soy un pollito muy importante. I'm a very important chicken, and I'm going to meet the king. But I guess I could spare him." And so Medio Pollito, he put some dry sticks on the fire and dry leaves on the fire. He rolled a little log into the fire, and pretty soon, Las ramas, the flames, estaban bailando. They were dancing. Do 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 do. You want to dance? Do 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 do. Oh yeah, the flames were dancing all night long, and Medio Puito slept by the fire, nice and warm. And in the morning, when he woke up, and just as he was about to go, the little flames, they said, "Gracias, amigo." And Medio Puito said, "Hasta luego. Ciao." And he hopped down the road to meet who? Right, the king. Bring, 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 bring. Well, the next day he hopped up a big hill. And on top of the hill, there was a big tree. And from the top of the tree, a voice called out. And the voice said, "Ayúdame, por favor. Help me, please. I'm the wind. I'm stuck in this tree. Pull the branches apart so I can fly free." And Medio Puito said, "Bueno, yo soy un pollito muy importante. I'm a very important chicken, and I'm going to meet the king, but I'll see what I can do." And Medio Pollito, that brave, one-legged, one-winged, one-eyed chicken, he climbed up, up, up the tree, and with his mighty beak, he pulled the branches this way, and that way, and that way, and this way. And el viento, the wind, broke free. Can you help with some wind? Good. And the wind blew across the sky, but it turned back and it called out and said, "Gracias, amigo." And Medio Puito said, "Hasta luego. Ciao." And finally, Medio Puito, he hopped through the city, up to the palace, and right in front of the palace door. And he was going to knock on the door to meet the king, exactly. When, you know who looked out the palace window? Out the palace window looked el cocinero, the cook. See, and the cook had just been wondering something. "Bueno, ¿qué puedo hacer para la cena esta noche? What can I make for dinner tonight? What can I make for dinner? What can I?" And then he saw Medio Pollito, and he said, "Quizás pollo, maybe chicken. Bueno, or at least half a chicken." Now, Medio Pollito, he was standing in front of the door, and he was going to knock on the door, expecting the king. But up from behind him creeped the cook and grabbed Medio Pollito by the scruff of his neck. And Medio Pollito said what chickens say when they get grabbed by the scruff of their neck. "Bark, bark, 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 bark." And that means, "Hey, you put me down right now." And the cook said, "Oh, I'll put you down. Yo voy a ponerte aquí. I'm going to put you here." And he put Medio Pollito down. Whoa! Poosh! In una olla grande, a big stew pot, llena de agua, filled with water. And that's when Medio Pollito had a very important realization. "Yo no puedo nadar. I can't swim. Ayúdame." Well, that was going to be the end of Medio Pollito. But look who was in the stew pot. The water. It was the water that came from that nearby creek. Remember the creek? And the water remembered Medio Pollito. And the water said, "Hey, it's you, Mr. Important Chicken. We remember you. You helped us out when we were in the creek. Hey, we'll help you." And the water lifted Medio Pollito up, 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 and supported him so he didn't sink. And he just did the backstroke around the top of the stew pot there. Well, he was doing pretty good until the cook said, "Bueno, es el tiempo para cocinar mi pollo. Time to cook my chicken." And the cook, he lit the fire beneath the stew pot. And of course, flames began to dance around the stew pot. Can you give us some dancing flames again? Ready? Do 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 do. Yeah, do 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 do. Where the flames danced, and after a while the water got hotter and hotter and hotter. And Medio Pollito said what chickens say when they're getting really, really hot. And of course that means, "Help, I'm getting really hot." Well, the flames, they heard that sound. They heard his voice, and they danced up and they looked down and they said, "Hey, it's you, Mr. Important Chicken. You helped us out when we were at campfire. We won't cook you." And those flames said to all the other flames in no uncertain terms, they said, "Hey guys, cool it." And all the flames would do, 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 do. And the fire went out. Well, Medio Pollito was doing pretty good until the cook said, "Bueno, es el tiempo para probar mi pollo. Time to check my chicken. Should be down by now." And the cook lifted the lid off the stew pot and looked inside, and there was Medio Pollito doing the backstroke in a hot tub. "Bark, bark, 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 bark. Hey, this is nice. Bark, 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 bark. Can you turn it up a little bit? Bark, bark." Oh, the cook was so mad. He folded his arms, he stamped his foot, and he said, "I'm going to fry this chicken up." And Medio Pollito said what chickens say when they're about to get fried up. "Bark, bark, 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 bark." And that means, "I'm out of here." And little Medio Pollito jumped out of the stew pot, and he raced across the kitchen floor as fast as he could go. Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. And the chef ran right after him. But Medio Pollito jumped out the window of the kitchen, and now he was running down the street as fast as he could go. Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. Now he was pretty fast, but the cook was faster. And now he came closer and closer and closer. And just as he was about to snatch Medio Pollito up, un viento poderoso llegó. A powerful wind arrived. Can you be the wind? Ready? And it blew harder. And it blew so hard, it lifted Medio Pollito 200 feet into the sky, which is where he had another important realization. "Bak, bak, bak, bak. No puedo volar. I can't fly. Ayúdame, help me." But the wind said, "Medio Pollito, I am helping you. You helped me when I was stuck in the tree. I have a very good place for a very important chicken, just like you." And the wind carried Medio Pollito across the sky into the middle of the city. And in the middle of the city, there was an enormous church. And on top of the church, a tall steeple, a tower. And the wind dropped Medio Pollito down upon the tower on his one leg. And he put it as one wing. And as the wind blew, Medio Pollito turned this way, in the breeze, and that way, in the breeze. And way down below, the people looked up, and they said, "Hey, have you seen that chicken up there? You can tell exactly which way the wind is blowing by watching him." Medio Pollito became famous. He became a professional weather vane. That's right. And you see, after a while, he met the king and the queen. He made friends with the cook, who never ever tried to cook him again. His mom came to live with him at the palace. And every day, little Medio Pollito would go up on top of that steeple and stand there and put out his wing, and his friends would come by to visit. The water came by as the rain and the fog and the clouds, and the fire came out as the sun. And of course, the wind, it blew by every day. And you know what? If you go to that church to this day and look on top of that steeple, Medio Pollito is still there. But these days, when the wind blows, he no longer says "Bark, bark, 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 bark," when he turns. Now he just says He's just a rusty old weather vane now, but he's still un pollito muy importante, a very important chicken. And that is the story of Medio Pollito, un cuento from Mexico, to help us celebrate Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Gracias, amigos.